Hey everyone, ready to dive deep into something pretty amazing?
I think so.
Yeah.
Always up for a good deep dive.
Today we're going to be tackling visualization
Oh, interesting.
and how it can seriously boost your chances of hitting those big goals. You know, when you just picture yourself totally nailing something?
Yeah.
Well, the research I've been looking at says it's way more powerful than just, positive vibes.
More than just a little boost, huh?
Turns out our brains kind of have a hard time telling the difference between something we imagine super vividly and something that actually happened.
Wow. So, our brains are basically mini virtual reality machines.
That's a great way to put it. So when we use visualization, we're hitting play on that mental movie of, us achieving whatever we're going for.
Okay, I'm already hooked. Tell me more.
So walk me through this. How does just imagining something have this kind of power over our brains and bodies? I mean, we're not actually out there running a marathon when we're just picturing it, right?
Right, but get this. Our brains don't totally get that memo. Some parts of our brains react like we are actually living it. It all comes down to how our nervous system is wired.
Okay, fascinating. So let's break that down a bit. What's happening up there when we visualize?
Well, you've probably heard of mirror neurons, right?
I think so. Vaguely remind me.
They're these cells that fire up both when we do something and when we see someone else doing the same thing.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But here's the crazy part.
Yeah.
They also fire when we just imagine ourselves doing something.
Wait, well, so just by thinking about doing something, we're triggering the same neurons as if we were actually doing it? That's kind of blowing my mind.
It is pretty wild, right? It's like our brains are running a simulation. And the more details we add, the more vivid it is, the more those neurons fire up and strengthen the connections related to that action.
So if I'm picturing myself giving a killer presentation, my brain's basically practicing the experience, getting those neural pathways all prepped for super confident speaking.
Exactly. And that's where this whole idea of brain plasticity comes in. It basically means our brains are always changing and adapting based on what we experience, even if it's just in our imagination.
So the more detailed the visualization, the better. Why is that?
Because the more senses you involve, the more real it feels to your brain. Think about the difference between reading a recipe and actually baking a cake.
Oh yeah, you remember that cake way better.
Exactly. Baking involves all your senses creating a stronger memory.
So I shouldn't just imagine people clapping at the end of my presentation. I should picture myself holding the microphone, hear my voice, even imagine what the room smells like.
Exactly. The more immersive the experience, the more powerful the impact on your brain.
This is all starting to click, but it's still pretty mind-blowing. We're talking about using imagination to actually rewire our brains for success.
It's pretty amazing, right? And it goes even deeper. Remember that part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex? It's like the command center for planning decisions and setting goals.
Right. It's what keeps us organized and on track, right?
Yes. And guess what? Visualization makes it light up like a fireworks show. When you mentally rehearse something, you're using those planning and decision-making skills even though you're not physically doing the action yet.
So it's like a mental workout for our brains. I love that.
And as if all that wasn't enough, visualization also releases endorphins, those feel-good chemicals that help with stress and motivation.
Hold on. So we're not only prepping our brains for success, but also getting a mood boost in the process. Sign me up.
It's a win-win. But even though visualization is super powerful, it's important to remember it's not magic.
Right.
It's about setting the stage, not replacing the hard work it takes to actually reach your goals.
It's like creating a blueprint in our minds, but we still have to be the ones to bring that vision to life.
Exactly. Think of visualization as the launch pad that gets you moving toward your goals.
I like that a lot. All right, so now that we've got the science down, let's dive into some real-world examples of how visualization is being used. I'm really curious to see how this all works in practice.
You're in for a treat. We'll look at some cool examples from sports, the arts, even the business world. Visualization is a pretty versatile tool.
Awesome, let's do it.
Let's kick things off with a world where visualization's been a game changer for a long time. Pro sports. Think about Olympic athletes like Michael Phelps.
Oh yeah, the swimming legend. I read somewhere that he used to spend hours visualizing his races, like down to the tiniest detail.
You got it. And it wasn't just about seeing himself winning the gold medal. He'd mentally rehearse the whole thing. The feeling of the water, the power in his strokes, even the sound of the crowd going wild.
So he was basically creating a mental blueprint for success, getting his mind and body totally in sync to perform at their absolute best.
Exactly. And it's not just swimmers. Athletes from all kinds of sports use it. Golfers perfecting their swing, basketball players nailing those free throws under pressure, you name it.
Makes sense. If you can practice success in your mind over and over, you're more likely to pull it off when it really counts right. But what about those times when doubt creeps in? How do athletes, especially in those high pressure moments, stop those negative images from taking over?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And that's where the real art of visualization comes in. It's not just about picturing good things, it's about training your mind to stick with those positive images even when doubts start swirling around. It's like building mental muscle. The more you work it, the stronger it gets.
So if an athlete starts picturing themselves missing that crucial shot or messing up during a race, they need to consciously shift their focus back to that positive image.
Exactly. It's all about acknowledging those negative thoughts without letting them take the wheel. Top athletes often work with sports psychologists to master these mental techniques, learning to swap out those negative pictures for ones that empower them.
It's fascinating how visualization is almost like mental training, giving athletes the tools to handle their thoughts and emotions when things get intense. But I'm curious about its uses beyond the sports world. Where else does it come into play?
Let's shift gears from the physical to the creative world,
Yeah.
the performing arts. Imagine a musician getting ready for a big solo concert. They can use visualization to mentally run through the whole performance. Not just playing every note perfectly, but feeling the energy of the audience and managing any stage fright.
So it's not just about nailing the technical stuff, but also about finding the right mindset and emotional state to create a truly captivating performance.
You got it. Visualization helps performers create a complete mental blueprint that covers their skills, their artistic expression, and even their connection with the audience.
It's like they're crafting a multi-sensory experience in their minds, prepping themselves for every single aspect of being on stage. And that preparation probably leads to feeling more confident and composed when they're actually up there.
Absolutely. And this applies to more than just musicians. Think actors, dancers, public speakers, anyone who needs to deliver a powerful performance under pressure.
That's pretty amazing. So visualization seems to be a pretty versatile tool, whether it's athletic achievements or artistic brilliance. But how about for the average person? You know, someone who's not training for the Olympics or a sold-out concert. How can they use visualization to reach their goals?
That's where things get really interesting. The same principles that work for elite performers can be applied to just about any goal you can think of. Landing your dream job, launching a business, writing a book, even just improving your communication skills.
So how do we make that leap from picturing Olympic gold to, let us say, totally rocking a job interview?
It's all about tailoring the visualization to your specific goal and making it as real and detailed as you can.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Walk me through it. Let's say my goal is to give a fantastic presentation at work. How would I use visualization to make that happen?
First things first, find a quiet spot where you can relax and focus without distractions. Then close your eyes, take a few deep breaths to center yourself. Now bring that presentation to mind. Don't just vaguely picture yourself at the podium. Really immerse yourself in the experience.
So I need to go beyond just seeing the slides. I need to feel the clicker in my hand, hear my voice projecting confidence, see my colleagues looking engaged and interested.
Exactly. The more senses you bring in, the more real it feels to your brain, and the stronger those neural pathways become.
What about the emotional side of things? We talked about visualization triggering those feel-good endorphins. How do we weave those positive emotions into the experience?
Imagine that feeling of accomplishment when you deliver your presentation flawlessly. Feel the surge of pride as you answer questions confidently. Visualize your colleagues smiling their approval, and that sense of satisfaction knowing you totally nailed it.
So it's not just about seeing the presentation go well, it's about feeling the positive emotions that come with that success.
Exactly. Those emotions add a powerful boost to your visualization, and it can really impact your mindset and motivation when you're actually giving the presentation.
This is making so much sense. It's like we're taking the power of our imagination and transforming it into a real tool for growth and achievement. But I'm guessing it's not a one-time thing. How do we make visualization a regular habit?
You're spot on. Consistency is the key. Just like working out your muscles, the more you do these mental rehearsals, the better they work.
So should we be carving out time each day for dedicated visualization sessions?
That's a fantastic strategy. Even a few minutes a day can add up over time. Find what works for you maybe first thing in the morning during lunch or even before bed.
It all sounds super promising, but I'm sure there are some bumps in the road. What about those times when doubts or negative thoughts pop up while we're visualizing? How do we handle those uninvited guests?
Everyone experiences those, so don't worry. It's totally normal to have doubts, especially when you're first starting out. Remember, our brains are wired to zero in on potential threats and challenges.
So how do we retrain our brains to focus on the good stuff?
When a negative thought pops up, acknowledge it without judgment. Don't try to shove it down or fight it. Just observe it and gently guide your focus back to that positive image.
It's like gently nudging our minds back on track, sort of like training a puppy.
Exactly. It takes practice and patience, but over time, you'll find it easier to stay focused on the positive during your visualizations.
This is really resonating with me. It's like we're taking back control of our thoughts and using them to build the life we want. But visualization is just one piece of the puzzle, right? We still need to take action in the real world to achieve our goals.
You hit the nail on the head. Visualization isn't a magic wand that makes your dreams happen without any effort from you, but it's a powerful tool that sets the stage for success, getting your mind and body ready to take action.
So it's about creating that mental blueprint, but we're still the architects. We have to put in the work to make that vision a reality.
Exactly. Think of visualization as the springboard that launches you toward your goals.
Okay, so we've explored the science behind visualization, seen it in action, and even learned some practical tips for making it part of our lives. What else is on the agenda for this deep dive?
Well, now that you understand the power of visualization and how to use it, let's dive into some specific techniques and strategies to supercharge your practice and take it to the next level.
Okay, I'm all ears. How do we level up this visualization game?
One technique that can really boost your visualizations is using affirmations.
Affirmations, you mean like those positive statements you repeat to yourself?
Exactly. But here's the twist. You weave those affirmations right into your visualizations. So let's say you're picturing yourself nailing that job interview. As you're mentally going through it, repeat affirmations like, I am confident, I'm well prepared, or I am the perfect candidate for this role.
So it's about making our self-talk match those images we're creating in our minds, really reinforcing those positive beliefs.
Precisely. It's like creating a soundtrack for your mental movie, amplifying the positive emotions and beliefs that go with your goal.
I like that. Okay, what else can we add to our visualization toolbox?
Another powerful tool is using a visualization board.
Oh, you mean like a vision board, where you make a collage with images and words that represent your goals?
That's the one. But instead of just looking at it, you use it as a focal point for your visualizations. Pick images that really spark positive emotions and make your goals feel super real.
So if my goal is to travel the world, I might include pictures of amazing places, landmarks. I want to see maybe even quotes about adventure and exploration.
Exactly. And as you look at your visualization board, imagine yourself actually having those adventures, feeling the sand between your toes on some tropical beach, or the excitement of exploring a new city.
It's like we're using those visual cues to anchor our imagination and make the visualizations even more vivid and real.
Exactly. And here's another tip. Don't be afraid to get creative with your visualizations. Some people like to write detailed scripts, almost like a movie screenplay, outlining every scene and emotion of their desired outcome. Others prefer to record themselves, talking through their visualizations, like making personalized audio affirmations.
So it's about finding what works best for you, right? There's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to visualization.
You got it. The key is to make it personal, something you enjoy that really speaks to your imagination. And don't forget, consistency is key. Try for a few minutes of dedicated visualization each day and gradually increase the time as you get more comfortable with it.
This is all so inspiring. It feels like we've unlocked a secret weapon using the power of our minds to create the lives we want. But I gotta ask, what's the biggest myth people have about visualization?
I think the biggest myth is that it's just about daydreaming or wishing for something to happen, but it's so much more than that. It's about actively using your mind with focus, intention, and repetition.
It's not about passively waiting for our dreams to come true. It's about actively creating them in our minds and then taking inspired action to make them a reality.
Exactly. Visualization is powerful, but it's not a substitute for putting in the effort. It's about setting the stage for success, preparing your mind and body to reach your goals.
Well, this has been incredible. I'm feeling super motivated to put all of this into practice. Thanks so much for sharing your expertise with me and with our listeners.
It's been my pleasure. Remember, you have the power to shape your reality. Embrace visualization and get ready to see amazing things happen.
This deep dive into visualization has been amazing. I've learned so much, and I'm excited to see how our listeners use this to achieve incredible things. Until next time, keep those visualizations vivid, those goals ambitious, and that belief in yourselves unshakable.